In this video, we're going to talk about adding and subtracting polynomials. This is a pretty important concept that we're going to use a lot in the coming sections in the rest of this chapter. So it's important that you really get a good idea of how to do it now. So when we're adding and subtracting polynomials, we're going to do what's called combining like terms, which is where you add or subtract, depending on the signs, the numbers in front, or the coefficients, and the exponents do not change. So we do not add the exponents here. You only combine things if they have the same variables and exponents on each variable. Which is why it's called combining like terms, because only like terms with the same variables and exponents can be combined. If they're not like terms, then we can't add or subtract them. So we're going to look at example 6 here first. It says to add, and then it gives us two polynomials. They're in parentheses, but basically what you're going to do is you're just going to add everything together. So the parentheses here are kind of separating the polynomials, but they're not too much to worry about here in terms of doing the problem. So I'm going to show a couple different ways to do these. The first method I'm going to show is lining things up vertically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write below the terms in the first set of parentheses the ones from the second set of parentheses that are going to combine with that. So I'm going to add 2x to the third to negative 6x to the third. They both have x to the third. I'm going to add 7x squared to 5x squared. They're both x squareds. And then I'm going to add negative 10 to 4. So this makes it easy to see what goes together. So negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. Exponent doesn't change. That's still x to the third. 5 plus 7 is 12. This is still x squared. And then 4 minus 10 is negative 6. So that's the answer to example 6. What you should do next is try checkpoint problem number 6. Write your answer in your notes. Check your notes with the notes that are posted, and then you can move on with the rest of the video. Next, we're going to look at example 7. This is another addition problem. I'm going to show a different way to do it, which is underlining terms with the same number of underlines if they are going to be added together. So I'm going to underline the x to the third y's. This is also x to the third y with a single line. 4x squared y and 6x squared y are both x squared y terms. And then 7y and 4y, those are going to go together. So just put the number of lines underneath the terms that match. I have a negative 5 here also. I can put 4 lines under that one, but there's no constant term in the first set of parentheses to add that to. So that negative 5 is just going to stay as a negative 5. Now I'm going to put the things together that go together. 5 plus 2 is 7, x to the third y's. We have x squared y's, negative 4 plus 6 is positive 2. Notice I'm not combining things that have different exponents, so I can't add these two things together because one is x to the third and one is x squared. Now just the y terms, negative 7 minus 4 is negative 11, and we also have a minus 5. So that's my answer for example 7. So you should pause the video here and do checkpoint 7 in your notes, check your answer, and then move on with the rest of the video. The last example problem that we're going to do here is example 8, and this is a subtraction problem. Subtraction tends to be where people make mistakes because of the negative signs. So you have to be very careful. Because when you're subtracting, everything in this second set of parentheses is subtracted. So I'm doing minus 2x to the third, minus negative 6x squared is going to change to plus. Minus negative 3x is going to change to plus, and this is going to be minus 9. So generally, when people make mistakes is they'll subtract the first one, but then they'll forget about the subtraction and just copy the signs that are here instead of doing the opposite. So we're going to have minus 2x to the third plus 6x squared plus 3x and minus 9. So when I write it over here, I want to make sure that I have the minus sign already incorporated, so then I can just go through and add each one together. So 7 minus 2 is 5, negative 8 plus 6 is negative 2, 9 plus 3 is 12, negative 6 minus 9 is negative 15. So that's my answer. So next, you should do checkpoint problem number 8. Check your answer in the notes, and then you can move on to the homework from this part of the section.